Welcome back to another episode of All Things Everything, presented by Gulf Coast Smoke. My name is Alonzo.
And I'm Sabrena.
And this is episode 39. So, man, big weekend this past weekend. How did we do in Needville?
First place chicken.
First ribs, first pork, first brisket, first overall. We won.
We might have even cooked beans. Who knows?
Yeah, perfect 100% scores across the board. No, what happened? I mean, how did Needville go?
And so we were actually really excited to go, even considering like how hot it is right now and how we've been saying like, we're going to wait until it's not so hot to compete.
Yeah.
We were really excited. I remember Needville last year, and that was a lot of fun. Even just I don't know if it was going to be at the same location.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, I mean, it was a nice location. We loved it. So, yeah, what day was that? Tuesday? Wednesday?
It was Thursday.
It was Thursday? It
was the day before the competition.
Yeah, that's
the day before we were leaving to the competition.
Yeah, so Thursday, I had gotten the trailer cleaned out because we were going to, take out the drums and get the offset put in. And you got home, and we were getting ready to put it in. You started measuring it. Without the ramps that we would have needed to put it in, we were only like maybe 2 inches off.
Yeah.
Because of the smokestack.
Yeah, but then with the ramps, the ramps made it like more like 4 inches.
Yeah.
And there was nothing we could do. No tire that we could get out of the air. No air that we could get out of the tires. Sorry.
Yeah.
Would make it, because I have like rubber band wheels on the pit, and
yeah.
Man, it was truly a disappointing day. If I'm being 100% honest, we were ready to go. We bought all of our LC injections. We had our game over ready to go for the brine.
It's thawed out.
Everything was thawed out. Brisket ready to rock. Everything. We were ready. And we felt really good. I was listening to our walk-up song all week, which is typically what I do. I don't know. Actually, I don't even know if you know that, but that's typically what I do. I'll listen to the walk-up song like all week long to try and get it in my head like, okay, I'm going to hopefully hear this 4, maybe 5 times, 5 if we win, or get an RGC. And, it was really defeating. Like, I mean, I literally sat just at the end of the trailer for a few minutes just like staring at the ground like, I can't believe this happened. So I did pre-measure the barbecue pit. But what I think I did and where I think I messed up was I didn't measure the door. I just measured the inside of the trailer, and there's a discrepancy,
right?
Obviously. So a complete mistake by me. There's no other way to look at it. A complete mistake by me. I should have been more prepared. Well, I should have known. And then, sorry, go ahead.
When you go look at it, it just
doesn't even look like there's any way that it wouldn't fit, right?
Right.
Literally, it looks like, oh, there's no way that wouldn't fit.
Yeah.
But it literally doesn't fit. So, yeah, I mean, I don't even know. I mean, the disappointment I felt was like pretty big. But I will say that I feel like for what happened, we most definitely made the most out of, the situation and ended up having a really good video that we could film, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But, I mean, what do we do now? What do we do moving forward when it does come time to compete again?
Our options that day, because we were still trying to figure out, how we could make it there. Our options were pretty much either having to take 2 trailers.
Yep.
So one car is pulling the trailer that we, sleep in. The other car is pulling a trailer with the offset, which is not really something we wanted to do. I mean, we try to take the least amount of stuff as possible when it comes to like any of the events.
Yeah.
If it were close to home, that wouldn't be the biggest issue. But, I mean, anything like 2+ hours, it's like, man, we really wouldn't want to have to haul 2 things.
Yeah. And I do, but just to quickly interrupt, I will say this flat out. We did make an executive decision, and we decided not to do that. We technically still could have gone, but we just didn't want to take 2 vehicles over 3 hours, pay for the fuel on both, wear and tear on 2 vehicles. Like, it just didn't make sense to us, especially because the plan was never to do that. And for me personally, you know how I am. When plans don't go as expected, I don't want to say like, I definitely don't give up, but I'm just like, okay, what's going on. I'm definitely like, I'm pretty reactionary to that. Is that the word? Reaction? Like,
Or like it that sometimes it seems like, oh, there's a reason why this is happening.
yeah, I mean, either way. Sorry to interrupt you there. I don't know if you remember what you were going to say, but
No, yeah, I mean, I'm with you there. I mean, that happens to us a lot where, something happens and it's like, dang, is this a sign not to go, or is this a sign to, find a way to go, right?
for sure.
But this was one of those times where we were just like, okay, well, I mean, it's Thursday, trying to figure out a solution, which we could have obviously grabbed our drums and gone, but we've got that mindset right now that we want to cook on the offset. We want to compete on the offset.
Yep.
I mean, we know how to do drums. I believe we could have done well on drums, but we got that offset and we've been really excited to go try to compete on it. So we really didn't want to, change our game plan and go take drums out there.
Yeah.
Which, yeah, we could have done. But
to me, that was like, there's no way we were doing that.
Right.
That was a 100%, we are not doing that no matter what.
Right.
Just wasn't going to happen.
Yeah, for sure. And so, even though for somebody else that you probably would have thought like, oh, I have drums, I'll just go cook.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're just really in that mindset right now if we want to transition to the offset.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a no for us. Trying to pull multiple trailers was a no for us. So yeah, we definitely decided that's not going to happen. Now the question is, what can we do from here on out or in the future? Because we're going to need something where we're only hauling one thing.
Yep.
Where we can still sleep in it, do what we need to do, protect us from the elements, and haul the offset.
Yeah. So the good thing is, I do think we have a little bit of time. The next couple of events are going to be around here. So I believe there's one in Sinton, an IBCA, and then there's one in Aransas Pass. And those are going to be our next two next month, like later next month. So I think we have some time to really think about what we're going to do. We obviously want a new trailer, or we feel like we need a new trailer. So goal number one is to clean up the trailer, put it for sale, hopefully sell it, and then move into the next thing. The problem is we don't know if we want a toy hauler. We don't know if we want a cargo trailer. We don't know what we want. And it makes it tough because we definitely need something that's going to be comfortable for everybody. And now that we have the option, we definitely want something that's big enough for Dad to go in. And be able to hang out and cool down and do dishes and stuff like that. And it's a tough situation. We don't know exactly what we want. Rini told me get a porch trailer for sure. I won't regret it. I had other people call me, don't get a porch trailer. It's like, I'm like, man, I don't know what to do, but we're going to do something and we're going to get back to it. Hopefully we will be. Okay. So like Sinton and Aransas, those are within 15 minutes of us. We will take two trailers over there if we need to, because at the end of the day, once we're done setting up, Dad can just haul one back over here and I can stay over there. So we'll do that for the next two if we need to. No problem.
Yeah, and the thing with trying to decide which way to go, a toy hauler or, RVs, things like that, those are going to offer the most comfort for us, but we film. So like a cargo trailer, I really like the idea of that because, like, for example, our trailer right now, we put our mounts. We have everything working for our camera setup. I'm sure you could do that in an RV or a toy hauler, but it's kind of one of those things where, like, most of the times those are going to have cabinets somewhere.
Yeah.
And those can get in the way of the shot. So yeah, it's definitely those are the things we're thinking about when we're thinking about which way we should go with it.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, the way that's different. That's a different mindset than most people would probably be thinking, because not everybody films the way we do. I mean, we're pretty much, okay, we might not do a full length YouTube video at every competition from here on out. Maybe, maybe not. We're 100% at least going to be getting multiple shorts. We're going to be filming something. Right? It might not be a full-length video, but we're going to be filming something. So, yeah, you're right. And that's exactly what I think about, is that the trailer that we had now, even though it was small, it did exactly what we wanted it to do. And we were able to set it up the way we wanted to set it up, which was really, really nice. We just needed it to be bigger. I mean, there's no other way to look at it. Just needed it to be bigger.
Yeah, a bathroom would be nice.
No, I mean,
kiddos, but
so like if we got a 24-foot cargo trailer, we could definitely put a bathroom in there 100,000,000%. And being able to take a shower before bed would probably be the nicest thing ever. Like, it wouldn't make it so, even when we were going every weekend, it's like, oh, Friday night is going to suck because we know we're going to go to bed with no shower and it doesn't feel good.
Yeah, imagine doing that in the summer right now.
Yeah, it just straight up doesn't feel good. But either way, we'll see what's next. We're not exactly sure, but we are trying to figure it out right now. Our goal is to sell the trailer, sell the TMG, and just move on to the next thing, whatever that is. So we'll see in due time. You guys will obviously know everything we do barbecue related. You guys pretty much know about. So yeah, sorry we couldn't make it to Needville. We really wanted to go. It means a lot to us. That competition means a lot to us. That was the first GC we ever got.
And we didn't get to film it.
Yeah, we didn't get to film it. We were excited about going back and filming and hopefully getting similar results. But, I mean, it just didn't work out. And one of the things that, while in the moment it was definitely tough and we were upset and I was upset, I mean, I think once we came to the realization, like, okay, I think I said it out loud. I was like, okay, well, I can either keep bitching about this or we can move on and make a plan for this weekend. And that's what we did. Okay, we got a brisket. Let's do an overnight brisket on the pellet grill, which that was our video for this week. And I think it was a really good video. I think it was. So, I mean, there's overnight brisket videos on the internet. That's 100%. They're great too. But I think ours is really good too. I mean, we threw a water pan in there to keep moisture in the moisture chamber, in the cooking chamber, which everything yielded for a really, really good brisket. We've gotten some good feedback on that video already. I mean, looking at it now, it's literally been like 24 hours. That video, I mean, 3.5K views, multiple comments. It's 1 out of 10ing for us, which is great, which is really, really good. So happy about that. Happy that people enjoy it. It makes me think, man, maybe we need to do more on the pellet grill, because I will say that, typically we don't. Not that we just don't like it. It's just, it almost feels like sometimes we feel like people don't want to see that. But
well, I think also the fact that there was a big old juicy Wagyu brisket on there.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it was most definitely a nice brisket. We did cook the Snake River Farms brisket that we were supposed to take. We were hoping to go over there and kick butt with that brisket. But it was actually weird, and I said this in the video, but as weird as it sounds, I'm actually kind of glad, because that point was not that great on that brisket. So we ordered that one from Snake, and they sent it, which sometimes you get the greatest briskets, sometimes they're not that great. I mean, Snakes are always delicious,
yeah,
but I mean, like,
quality is good, but
yeah, it might not be exactly what you're looking for, like thickness-wise or like thickness-wise or whatever, but man, it was still a great brisket. And I mean, just being able to cook that snake and give it to the family was actually really nice too. So again, it was not the best that we weren't able to go, but man, I thought it turned out really good. The weekend turned out good. So we were able to get some things done that we needed to get done. And then, making that brisket and what I would say is a successful video. I mean, you can't really be too upset about that. So for anybody that's listening, if you've done that overnight method, if you've done that Frio method like we call it, have you guys ever put a water pan in your cooking chamber as well? Because I would say that I feel like that helped the process for us, like really, really, really big time. Because, what we have found, especially from cooking competition barbecue, when we put water pans in our smokers, we get a better product, 100%. And when we're consistently filling up that water and we have a good level of moisture in our cooker, we are doing better. So that's really what started this for me and making me think like, okay, we're going to do an overnight brisket. Let's go ahead and throw a water pan in there. Let's make sure we have a moist environment. We don't want that brisket to get too hard too quickly. We do want to render fat. We do want to push out water, but I don't want it to get too hard too quickly. Like, that's just the way I was looking at it. And I think it turned out really, really good. Towards the end, we actually swapped out the one water pan for 2 smaller ones. Why did we do? Oh, yeah. We won't say why we did that, but we did that for a reason.
We needed the pan.
We needed the pan. We did not eat out of it, so don't worry. We did not eat out of it or do anything. Yeah. But anyway, it just, the brisket turned out really good. I mean, overall, what did you think about the video, and what did you think about that cook? Especially coming from somebody which I feel like in the past, you have not really cared for food that comes off of a pellet grill. Like, I feel like you've been very vocal, at least to me. Like, man, I didn't like that. Like, I can taste that it was off of a pellet grill, and it's not good to me. What did you think about the brisket? What did you think about everything overall?
Yeah, so normally, I mean, okay, like side note, just to go off of what you're saying. In the past, I've definitely had an issue with the flavor, specifically of like pork ribs. I don't know what it is about like the ribs on the pellet smoker. I don't know. I just could taste that it just wasn't on like a regular smoker, I guess. I don't know. But I will say with the sear wood, I haven't had that issue with pork ribs.
Yeah.
So with the sear wood so far, when we've smoked ribs on them, I have not had any complaints with that.
Yeah.
Now, other pellet smokers in the past, when we've done the overnight brisket method, I haven't gotten that same reaction as I did with the pork ribs.
So you were okay with it?
I was okay with those. And so likewise with the sear wood now, I mean, I thought the flavor was very good. I didn't eat that and think like, oh, there's no smoke or like, and that's the thing about the sear wood too, right? Is it's supposed to almost kind of mimic like a live fire cooking when you turn it up hot enough.
Yeah.
Which obviously we didn't turn it up that hot for a brisket. But I mean, I think unless you put, and that might be a good video to test. I think unless you put one that was on an offset and then one on a pellet smoker right next to each other, yeah, maybe you'll taste some differences.
Mm-hmm.
But if you gave me the one on the offset yesterday and then I had the one on the pellet smoker a couple days later, like I wouldn't be able to tell the difference.
Yeah.
You know? So I don't think it could probably fool anybody unless you just, only eat offset briskets every day of your life and then you try one on a pellet smoker, right?
For sure.
But yeah, I mean, I had no complaints with that. I thought it was a very good brisket. Obviously, it being a Wagyu is just real, and we'll talk about, the doneness as opposed to, a regular or choice or prime brisket.
Yeah.
But that method is something we've been doing for, how long would you say? Like
a long time.
Yeah, years now.
I mean, yeah, years. And so, I mean, it's funny, right? I 1,000,000% do not think we came up with the method, but we were doing it even before, like, Matt Pittman had his overnight video, and a lot of people had their overnight videos. But I think, like, again, it can't take any credit for it. It's almost common sense, right? Like, what you can do with a pellet grill just to make it easy. Like, do you remember a long time ago, like, we would make pork butts and we would just leave on the small little Rectech we had?
Yeah.
That was literally like 7 years ago. We've been doing it for a really long time. And we started with pork butts, and then, of course, like, we went into briskets, and we went into other, well, I guess we really have only done pork butts and briskets, but, I mean, those larger cuts, we've been doing this for a really long time. And, we coined it the Frio method because one time when we were at the Frio River with Sid and Luke and everybody wanted to stay up all night drinking beer, but they wanted brisket the next day. And I actually had our TMG Fridge 48 out there, and everyone's like, nah, hell no. No way. We are not staying up all night tending that fire. Let's party. We're on vacation. Let's have some fun. So I was like, man, Sid had a Rectech. At the time, they were calling them the Bull. I think it was a 700 square inch model. I think it was the Rectech Bull. And we had 5 briskets. You might remember this. You might not. Mm-hmm. We had 5 briskets, and we just threw them all in there. And they were really, it was really crowded in that cooker, and we just threw them on at like 7 p.m., went down to the river, hung out. 3 hours later, oh, snap, let's go check on the briskets. Drive the golf cart up to the cabin, spray them with water, boom, keep going. And, I mean, we had them for lunch the next day, and they were out of this world. There was so many people there where they were like, oh, my gosh, this brisket's incredible. And we did nothing. I mean, we plugged a pellet grill into the electricity, into the wall, and we let it smoke. And that's it. With cooking on a pellet grill, it is easier. Okay, but the thing is, and I've said this to a lot of people, I might have said it on the channel, I might have said it at some point on the podcast, but I truly believe that you still have to know how to cook and when to pull that brisket in order to make a good pellet grill brisket. Because, for example, let's just say you had no idea. I mean, obviously probably a bad example because you know now. But if you'd never cooked a brisket and I gave you a Wagyu brisket and said, hey, cook this perfectly, you're going to be able to use a pellet grill. Do you think you'd be able to do it?
No, if I had no like prior knowledge of anything.
That's
no.
what I'm saying. I don't think so either. I think you still have to understand when that brisket's done, when the fat is rendered, when you can wrap. All those things are still very important, which we go over in that video. So, of course, if you guys haven't seen the video, go ahead and check it out. Maybe you can put a link up here so people can click on it right there. But, man, I mean, just overall, I think that pellet grills really can get you into the hobby, and they can give you confidence to start moving forward and say, hey, man, I could nail a brisket now. I understand what the brisket feels like when it's done. I understand what it feels like when it's probe tender. All right, now I'm going to go ahead and buy a little offset from Academy, $500 or whatever, or a Weber Smoky Mountain, my favorite smoker of all time. And then over time, you're eventually going to get to an Outlaw, right? Mm-hmm. But it helps you start the sport, and I think that that's important, feeling confident in what you're doing. It's like the other day when we were golfing, right? Like I was telling you, like just feel the ball coming off the club solidly. That right there in its own is like, hey, that's a good feeling. I want that feeling. So from there, you work towards the rest. But man, pellet grills, I know they get a lot of hate. I just love them.
Yeah, I think.
And we don't use ours enough. I will say that we really don't. We have such a beautiful pellet grill. And I mean, before that video, when was the last time we used it?
Well, a couple weeks back, but that's because we had all that rain, we were actually cooking on it pretty regularly. But then we had a bunch of rain, so we just hadn't really been able to get outside and cook.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the ease of it is just great because you don't want to get up in the middle of the night, early morning, just to start a fire, and especially if you're cooking for a lot of people, and then you have to attend, whatever event it is. So, I mean, it's not like if you're catering and it's like, okay, well, I can give these people their stuff and then I can go home and get sleep, right? Mm-hmm. But when you're cooking for family and friends and you're the one that would have to be up all night and then you have to go attend, like that's draining, especially cooking a brisket in this heat right now. So, yeah, I think it's really, really great to have that option to be able to put it on, go to sleep, wake up, and finish it. Mm-hmm. And that's because it only took, 4 hours after, when we got up and checked it that morning, and then it was done. And I think you say, when you think about it, it's common sense, right?
Yeah.
But I think most people don't really realize that you could cook that low. I think when everybody's perception of, if you're going to cook or smoke anything, the lowest you would go was, 275. Yeah. I don't even think people really in their heads think, oh, I can cook at 250. Which, most, or 200, whatever. Most people don't. I mean, that's not really realistic for, a home cook, right?
Yeah.
But in this case, it makes sense. I mean, as long as your protein is, not going below or into the temperature danger zone, it should be good.
For sure.
It can handle that low temperature for a long period of time.
Yeah. No, I think the best thing that you said throughout all of that was one word: option. Pellet grills give you an option, right? Either option is great, whatever you decide, but they are both different. The pellet grill is very convenient. The offset smoker is a lot more fun, but like Sabrena said, man, some days, this, I'm down to wake up at 3 a.m. and start.
Right.
Other days I had a really long work week and I'm tired and we've had stuff to do, and man, let me throw that on the pellet grill. And it's going to turn out pretty damn good. That would be a great video for us to do a side-by-side comparison, one brisket on the pellet grill, one brisket on the offset, and see if people can tell the difference. We already did this before with the competition versus the backyard brisket. But what's going to happen if we do offset versus pellet? I'm just curious. I really don't know, because I definitely think they're both going to be delicious, but which one's going to be better?
Yeah, because, realistically, it's offset should win.
For
right?
sure.
Offset should win. But, based on that brisket we had the other day, too, it's okay, well, that was a good brisket.
Yeah. And I think the one thing that I will say, because You also did kind of mention it earlier. We'll talk about the texture of the brisket. Now, we did finish that brisket at a much higher temperature than you guys are probably thinking, like, that might be a little too high. Okay, Sabrena and I don't know all the science behind everything, right? We do not, and we're not going to pretend to. But I can promise you one thing. The first place briskets that we've hit, I don't know, we got 1 second place there, a first place here, a first place here. You know what I mean? Like, let's just say we got a first place here. I don't know. Like, I don't know how many first place briskets we have, and I'm not trying to, like, brag on it. We've gotten a lot of really good brisket calls in our day. I guarantee you, every single one of those briskets where we hit first, between third and first, it was past 213 degrees internal. I guarantee you.
Yeah.
It might have even been closer to 215. I get it. You guys are thinking, like, that's crazy. There's no way. We're pushing Wagyus, right? We're not cooking choice briskets with little to no fat. We're not cooking select briskets. Like, we're cooking a highly marbled piece of meat. We're trying to render all that fat. Otherwise, it's just going to be chewy. Mm-hmm. We have to melt it. So think about those things. If you're going to cook this method and you're going to be cooking a select, do not take it to 212. No. It will be dry and it will be overcooked, like big.
Right.
So don't do that. I'm highly against that. Well, the only reason we cooked that snake was because we had it thought out for our competition. Otherwise, I promise you we would not have done that. But like I said earlier, we took our medicine, weren't able to go to Needville. We made the best out of the situation that we could. And gratefully, we were able to feed that to family. So it's really a win, to be 100% honest.
Yeah, and so if you're deciding to try this overnight brisket and maybe you have a choice brisket, yeah, you're definitely going to want to start checking for doneness around the probably 200 range.
For sure.
And then if, we've cooked primes as well at competitions, but if we take it, to that further temperature range, it's because we're injecting that too,
Yes.
So that in that case, it's going to handle it. But even with the prime, if you're making this at home,
you can tell though.
Yeah,
you can tell with the prime. You really can. It's a little bit chalkier, little bit. No, I mean, we've hit first place with prime too, but it's a little chalkier, and it's definitely not like the snake. I will say that. And we are not food scientists. We don't know it all. All right, but these are just facts. There's data behind this. I mean, there's numbers. We've looked at it. We know when we're pulling these briskets, and we're melting them because they're Wagyus, right? Don't do it with a select. Don't do it with a choice. Even still, be very careful with a prime. If it's really, really highly marbled, you're going to be okay taking it to that 208, 210. But yeah, most definitely just don't. So our videos, just like temperature, I always say, they're a guideline. The situation where you're at is different than mine. We live in South Texas. It's very humid. My cooking chamber might need that water pan. Yours might not. It just, everything is different. Most definitely get a feel for all of your smokers and any proteins that you're cooking for sure.
Yeah, especially because, let's be realistic here. When you go to the store, and you go to pick out steaks, it could say prime, and that thing looks like a select.
For sure. Happens to us all the time.
Oh, for sure. So if you're
it's
buying,
got that prime price though.
Yeah, they all do.
They all have that prime price. Everything is expensive right now. Anyway, we won't talk about that.
Yeah. So if you go buy a brisket and it's a prime and you think, oh, nice, I'm gonna get a good quality brisket out of this, and you open it up and that thing is not marbled.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't think you can cook this to the farther end of the spectrum on the temperature range.
Yeah, because I think we pulled it where basically in the point that brisket was around 212, in the middle of the two muzzles 211, 209 in the flat, right? Something like that.
It was like 213 in the flat,
209, 212.
I remember it being 211 on the point.
I thought I adjusted the thermopin a little bit and it went to 212 at one point.
211, 212.
Either way. Yeah, so just, again, not to beat a dead horse, but just make sure when you guys are trying these things at home that, now, if you have everything exactly like us, like if you live a house over from me and you got a snake that's highly marbled, go for it. But everything is a little bit different just depending on where you're at and what you're cooking with. So just keep those things in mind. But to kind of move on, last week we actually put out a video about fire management. So opposites, right? We had a fire management on an offset smoker, and then we went to a pellet grill this week. So last week we really wanted to kind of break down how I run a fire in an offset smoker, specifically in my Outlaw smoker, my new Outlaw smoker, my 2460 XL. Just the smoker, I can't say enough great things about it. It's just so beautiful. It runs like a dream. And when we were going through this video, there were stages, right, where we were like, oh yeah, we're gonna try and do a dirty fire. We're gonna try and get the sausage to look really ugly, and we want to. And then like nasty fire was going through the smoker, and I literally went inside and I was like, Sabrena, like, should we just stop the video, or not stop the video? Should we just fix the fire and like move on to the next thing? Because number one, I can't stand this smell. Yeah. And number two, I really don't want to just run that nastiness through the smoker like on purpose. It feels wrong. So it was a fun video to do, but there was definitely a moment where I was like, all right, I can't go through this. Like, I can't go through with this. We probably had a dirty fire for like 10 minutes, and we were just like, yeah, no, we're done. Yeah. We're done. You're done. You're done. What is that? Where's that from? I don't even know where that's from.
Is that Trump?
Is that Trump?
Or something?
You're done.
Yeah, the way you said it, I was like, that's got to be Trump.
I don't know. I mean, I really don't even know. But either way, but I did feel like it was a really good video. And obviously, I felt like we gave some really good insight. And I think one of the largest things to take away from that is I think coal bed is very important when it comes to managing an offset fire. Now, again, we all have different concepts of how to run a fire. Mine is to have a really nice and hot coal bed to where if I lay a stick on it, it's going to ignite really quickly. And again, actually adjusting your smokestack, adjusting your intakes. I've really learned that you don't have to let the fire start dying. You can actually just keep it where it's at all day. As long as you keep that stack adjusted, your fire is not going to get out of control. It's going to stay in control. You're going to keep that coal bed, and you can just keep cooking for a long, long time.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting because like back in the day, before I knew much about, how to actually build a fire, I just thought, oh, you're cutting up big old chunks of wood and you're throwing it in there and lighting it, right?
Yeah. And that's what it seems like.
Right. And so if you're new to using an offset, I think it makes it so simple. So you want to start with some charcoal, which we used lump, and you want to get those coals nice and hot, and then you can start layering your wood on there. Now, and you mentioned this in the video, so for anyone who hasn't watched it, make sure to go watch it. But the sizes of your splits matter. Big time. Right? So if you have a smaller firebox and charcoal basket, you're not going to want to put large splits of wood to where they're not even, they can't breathe. For sure. You want to have those smaller splits so that the air can actually circulate through them. And if you've tried smoking like for the first time and you're not sure if your fire is right or not, check on your smokestack, check how that smoke is coming out. Because there's a huge difference of when it's dirty or a good clean smoke, because you can see nothing with a good clean smoke.
And it's hotter up top too.
Right.
You can literally feel more heat at the stack than you would with that dirty smoke. And that dirty smoke, it almost does feel like wet. Right. You know what I mean? Like I don't know how to explain it. You would just have to feel it, but it almost feels a little bit wet. Like that is just throwing nastiness all over my food. I just know it. It just has to be. But you made a great point, and it's actually something I was thinking in my head that I really wanted to explain to people. So if you look at the camera right now, if you guys are listening, I'm trying to make like a little V with my hands, okay? But it's not a V that's actually touching at the bottom. There's like a flat point, So it's like
an upside down trapezoid.
Like an upside down trapezoid, or like a squared off U, right? So that bottom portion, you want to make sure there's enough space between the logs to where they're not actually touching, right? Because like you said, oxygen, airflow, that fire needs to be able to breathe. If the wood is just stacked on top of each other, it doesn't have enough oxygen. It's going to allow it to ignite quickly, and it's not going to allow it to really roll. You want an actual fire. You don't want just just smoldering. I mean, it's going to smolder, but you know what I mean? Like, you want that piece of wood to be on fire, right? That's what's going to get you a really nice clean smoke, and it's going to get you that heat that you're looking for. So, yeah, I mean, I think that if we ever go back and do that, that might be one thing that I want to explain a little bit better, because if your logs are too big that they're actually touching each other, there's no separation, even if you're doing like a Lincoln log, which is like one right next to each other and then two on top, there has to be oxygen within that. There has to be airflow that can go through that in order for it to be optimal. But I mean, I definitely feel like there's so many different ways to manage a fire. We just love giving our perspective on how we do, because if you take one thing from, let's just say, Mad Scientist, one thing from Chud, one thing from Malcolm, one thing from Matt Pittman, and one thing from us, and then you have the best fire ever, man, we did our job, because we understand that all those people can cook really well, and all those people know how to manage a fire, and you know, there's no necessarily like wrong way to do it. I mean, there is, but there isn't, right? Just figure out what works for you, get a nice hot fire, make sure the smoke is clean, and you're good to go. You're golden.
Yeah, I mean, there's, like you said, there's many right ways to do it.
Yeah.
But I think the one thing that all methods are going to have in common is the results from that dirty smoke. So,
For sure.
like, one of the things, which you couldn't really see it in our video because, like you said, we just couldn't handle it. But if that happens to you and you do get that dirty smoke, not a clean fire, the result is you're going to have a soot on your protein. With sausages, now that's why we use sausages, because those are easy to wipe the soot off, right? But I mean, if you have like, I don't know, pork ribs and stuff, and you get, especially for competition, right?
Yeah, they're going to get like really dark and nasty looking. Oh,
for sure. And you're not really going to be able to wipe that off. So those are some common things that you're going to see of a not optimal fire.
Yeah.
Is going to be that soot, that thick white smoke. And like you could even see it in the video. The smoke was coming through the doors and
everything.
Any crack and crevice, there's smoke coming through. Whereas
it just wasn't work. The fire wasn't running well. But the other thing that you can take from that is how easy it was for me to fix it.
Right.
So it's like the difference between a bad and a good fire is minuscule.
Yeah.
A lot of the times it's very, very small adjustments that you have to make. So that's why I said, like, don't give up. If your fire is not chooching the right way, man, don't just say, oh, screwed. Let me go to the pellet grill, or let me go to the oven, or whatever. No, just fix it. You can fix it.
Yeah.
You know, pull the log out, man. Throw it into, I don't know, your other smoker. That's what
if you got a kettle or something.
Yeah, I mean, I've done that before, right? So whatever you got to do in order to get a good fire going, I mean, you can definitely make adjustments and you can make changes, and it can turn out for the good for sure. But I mean, again, I think the last two videos have been really, really fun to make, and I hope that you guys have been learning from them. As always, please, if you guys have anything that you want us to film, you know, put it in the comments, reach out to us on social media. I know a lot of people are kind of missing the competition content. I've been getting some messages, but don't forget, we have a catalog. We have a catalog of competition videos, and I promise you one thing. We go to a competition tomorrow, let's just say we did, we're cooking the same way we did the last event, okay? So there's catalogs of our Growth This Competition cooks, and you guys could always go back and watch those to see where we made mistakes, see where we did good things, and I definitely don't think that, I think there's enough competition content on the channel where you guys can still learn and still take something from it. So don't be afraid to go back and watch.
Oh, we still do. If we have a competition we're preparing for, we're always going back and watching, like even the last maybe 5 to 10 videos, just to see, you know, okay,
where did we do good?
Right. Let's refresh our memories. Like, we know we have our recipes up to date. We know what we want to do, but let's refresh our memories, because sometimes we'll throw a little bit of this, a little bit of that, just because.
Yeah, just, you know? I mean,
we'll do something just because.
I have a bad habit of doing that for sure, where it's like, let's just do something different today. And it's like, maybe that wasn't the best idea, but I'm still going to do it anyway. Because, you know, how that's just how I am.
Yeah.
But, so what's coming up for us? I mean, so we have, and also I will talk about this really quickly. Our last two podcasts have had some amazing guests. Thank you so much to Malcolm and to Chance for being on the podcast. I felt like both of them were very successful. They did exactly what we wanted them to. I'm talking about the podcast episode wise. Like, we wanted to go after Malcolm in a different way that we feel like he normally gets talked to or interviewed. And I think it was really successful, and he's such a great dude. Like, if you guys take one thing from that, from Malcolm being on the podcast, he's just genuinely a great dude. And you can see why he's been so successful for so long. I mean, having somebody like Rochelle in his corner where they're just, again, on the same page and they work together really, really well. It's inspiring, and just thanks to him. And then, of course, Chance bringing a little bit of me out of me on the podcast, allowing me to be a little bit more of how I am with him. And, I got some phone calls and text messages like, man, it was really nice to see that side of you, which this is me too. Don't get it wrong. This is me too. But when I'm with Chance, when I'm with my friends, we definitely cut up a little bit more than probably than we need to, but it is what it is. That's just our relationship. That's how we all are with each other. So I just wanted to shout them out. Obviously, the podcast today is you and I, which I do really love doing episodes like this. But, thanks to the guests that have been on recently, you guys have made the show continue to grow, and we appreciate you. If you guys want to see anybody else on the podcast, let us know in the comments, or again, reach out to us on social. And again, reach out to us on social media. Tongue twister, or maybe I was just trying to talk too fast. But yeah. So what's coming up? What do you know what we're going to be filming this weekend? Do you know what we're doing for the Labor Day weekend?
What are we doing?
Yeah, I mean, so
man, you're asking the wrong person.
Well, no, I mean, coming up soon, this Saturday, we're actually having our son's birthday party at Chuck E. Cheese. He chose Chuck E. Cheese, and he chose a Mario-themed cake. When are you going to start on that?
That's a good question. Tomorrow.
Yeah,
I got to go get the stuff.
Yeah. So, Mario-themed.
We need to get him presents.
Yeah, we do need to get him presents. So what does he want?
He wants... Well, the other day he showed me these Luigi's Mansion Legos. I'm like, ooh, that's cool.
Where can we get
but
those?
I don't know. I don't know how long ago that.
We'll check on the phone in a little bit. So yeah, Alonso's birthday party is on Saturday, and his actual birthday is on Sunday. So we're gonna spend 2 days celebrating him and basically doing whatever he wants. So if I had to guess, to be honest, we probably, well, man, actually, now that I think about it, how are we gonna get a video out by next week? We'd have to film Monday.
Yeah, we can film Monday.
Yeah, we could do it. We'll do it. We'll get it filmed Monday. So we'll film something Monday. We don't exactly know what yet, but we'll get it done. And then we'll be going on a little family time next week. I'm taking the week off of work, so just gonna spend some time with the kids here, and hopefully maybe catch up and maybe go eat some barbecue somewhere, do something cool. I know that we have some plans on some videos that we want to do during that time when I'm off. So hopefully we hit it really hard and you guys enjoy those videos that are going to be coming really soon. But other than that, I've been golfing a lot. Like I wish I was golfing right now. But it did rain all day, so probably not something that I would have been able to do no matter what. And I typically wouldn't even want to ever talk about it, right? Because it's like I've told you before, I do want that channel to, if it grows, it grows. If it doesn't, it doesn't. I want it to do it organically. But I'll put a link, or you'll put a link in the description for our YouTube channel for that. We're not doing any long form content yet. I'm doing a lot of shorts, and then like the TikTok and stuff. And I'm really, really happy with the name. Like, I love the name. So I never wanted the name to be Gulf Coast Golf. That was like a placeholder that I had in there until I really figured out what we wanted the name to be. And, obviously, like with the golf thing, you're helping me in that aspect too. Like, you've gone out there and helped me. So we have tried to film some long form content. It just hasn't really worked out yet, which is okay. And we kind of knew that was going to happen. But we kind of were going back and forth on a few names, and we were about to name it Part-Time Golf, like for part-time golf. So a little backstory, right? Like, we want the channel to feel like, hey, I'm still a dad. I'm still a husband. I'm still a guy that works a full-time job, but I love to golf. So we're part-time golfers. We're part-timers basically is what it was going to be. Like we were going to call ourselves part-timers. And I still actually want to call ourselves part-timers. Like I think that's a good little like, oh, we're part-timers or whatever. But yeah, part-time golf did not, it worked out, but I came across a name that I really thought would be perfect for what I envision the channel really being, and it's Blue Water Drive. So people might not, well, I'm sure a lot of you guys don't know, I grew up on Blue Water Drive. So obviously Blue Water, we live near the coast, so that goes well with that. And then Drive, it's like, that's the street I lived on, but it's also like Drive is a part of golf. So Blue Water Drive. And I chose this name, and I really wanted this name because that's the street that I lived on when I learned to love golf. And that street means everything to me. That's where my mom and dad still live, right? So it's something that, again, it means a lot to me. And you actually are going to help me with the logo. So typically, like with Gulf Coast Smoke, a lot of people might not know this. I actually did hand draw the logo. It didn't look anything the way it looks, but I did actually hand draw the logo. So my vision with Gulf Coast Smoke was an offset smoker with smoke coming out, and it said Gulf Coast Smoke like in smoke, if that makes sense. Like the smoke actually spelled out Gulf Coast Smoke. You know, it really sucks, but I have witnesses. You're one of them. Oscar's another one. I actually had the sticky note where I drew all this out before, and it was a yellow sticky note with red pen. I can't find it, which is devastating, but it's okay because I know the truth. I know that I actually did draw this out like it was my idea. So I got that logo made on Fiverr years ago because I didn't really know any better. And I literally have the Fiverr conversation where I'm telling him like exactly what I want. So I have that, but I don't have the picture, which really sucks. But I feel like it's got to be somewhere. Like I have to have that thing somewhere. Either way, but with Blue Water Drive, you know, we talked about it, and I want there to be a good logo that we can have like on shirts and hats and stuff like that one of these days. And Blue Water Drive is something that we're obviously gonna. I mean, you know how I am. I take everything pretty seriously, especially if I have a passion for it. I don't know where it's gonna go. I don't know where it's gonna take us, but there will be a lot of golf content coming as well. So if you guys do enjoy golf, check out the channel, see if you like it. If not, like I said, my goal is to grow it organically. If it doesn't grow, that's fine with me. Gulf Coast Smoke is very, very, very important to me, and nothing is going to change there. But I will say the beautiful thing about this is it's allowed me to get back into something that, I mean, I do love, and you know I love it.
Yeah. So
I've kind of forced myself back into it. I bought a new driver. I bought a new 3-wood. It was kind of funny because I can't remember the exact conversation, but I told you like, hey, just so you know, transfer X amount of this dollars to the checking account. You're like, why that much? I'm like, well, I ended up buying the driver, and you're like, I was like, I told you I was going to buy it. And you're like, yeah, you did tell me, but I didn't realize that it came with that sticker, with that price. So we kind of laughed about it, but it was 2 clubs, and it wasn't just one. It was 2 clubs in my defense. And I'm really excited to get my new Titleist drivers. I got the new GT driver and 3-wood. So, you know, hopefully over time, we kind of talked about like if it got big enough, we could do a golf podcast. But I mean, like, this is called All Things Everything, right? We could talk about golf here too.
Yeah.
If it ever got big enough, I think we would obviously have to do a separate one. Oh, but we do have a podcast name for that as well if it ever got to that point. But very, very early stages. I'm just enjoying playing golf, and it's cool. I'm just taking my phone out there, which actually makes it really easy. Like I have a little stand now, and I just plop it into the ground, and I get golf content. So that's pretty cool. Makes it really easy for me to get out there and do something. So gonna go night golf on Friday. Boom. And yeah, I don't know. What else? What else is going on? Is that it?
Yeah, I mean, we've been the good thing about you going out and golfing more is it's gotten me and the kids out there. And
yeah, you got a set of golf clubs too?
Yeah, because the other day, I mean, Boppy and Piper kind of gave up. I was like, you know, screw it. There's room. I'm going to hit Penny's club, which I've never really hit balls very much unless it's just like helping the kids. But I was hitting her driver because it's like the longest thing possible for me. And I'm like, dang, this is fun. And then you hit one shot that's like kind of good. And then you're like, oh,
Brings
man.
you back.
Right. So, yeah, it's definitely drawing me in.
And it's also good thing about it is since I started golfing, we've actually both been better about like actually working out and doing physical stuff too. So like you're even working out too. I've done multiple workouts already and I'm out there, I'm playing golf, I'm walking holes. Even if I'm riding, like I'll get out and walk half of the hole and just get a good sweat in. I've lost a good amount of weight. Like the last time I weighed myself, I was down like 16 pounds just from golfing, like nothing crazy else. And it's kind of staggered, right? You know, because I think a lot of it was, obviously like water weight and stuff and just sweating a lot, but hey, getting out there and moving around has been very good for both of us and the kids as well. So being outside and being physical, I mean, there ain't nothing wrong with that. That's for dang sure.
Yeah.
I ain't mad about it. And also, without your permission, I decided I'm going to do 3 golf trips a year, you know?
You say it like I care.
Yeah, I know that, but
it's so funny. That's like the number one thing you hear from like
even like people
everybody.
Ask you too. They like, hey, you don't care that he golfs so much, and like I swear to you, Sabrina's answer is like, why would I care?
Yeah,
like,
I mean, I'm like, should I care more? I don't know. I mean, that's first of all, you've been golfing since before we met. It's like, why am I gonna tell you to stop now?
Any wives?
I wouldn't anyway.
Any wives out there listening? Maybe take a page out of Sabrina's book. I don't know.
I got too much going on over here with these kids to care about what you're doing, you know?
Yeah, so, but I mean, also, like, I will say this, right? And I guess this is kind of getting a little serious, but the truth is, like, okay, yeah, I go golf, but, you know, I come home and on the weekends, like, we're all together all day doing whatever the kids want to do. Like, we're very present in their lives. I'm very present in their lives. Like, Saturdays and Sundays, a lot of the times, which probably, I don't know, maybe not the best financial decisions ever. We're just like, hey, what do y'all want to do today? Like, literally, we'll wake up, we'll be in bed, we'll call the kids, hey, what do y'all want to do today? Oh, let's go to brunch and then go bowling and then go here and then go watch a movie. And, like, we'll do whatever the kids want all day. We try and give them really good lives. And, like, me golfing has never gotten in the way of being a good dad or being a good husband or being anything. Like, I think as long as there's a balance, right? Like, obviously you give me a lot of freedom. You do give me a lot of freedom. I don't think y'all understand. I could literally probably do whatever I wanted for the most part, right?
Yeah.
Within reason, right? Within reason. Not whatever I wanted, but like if I decided like, hey, next week I'm going to go fly with the boys to Vegas, like, you're going to be like, okay. Like, when are you leaving? When are you coming back?
Yeah.
Or are you going to bring money back or are you going to lose money over there?
I'm like, you better go win.
Yeah, but
whatever the here's the thing is, I don't think it's actually about golf. If your significant other, I'm not trying to call anyone out.
Yeah.
If they're upset with you going golfing, it ain't about golf.
Yeah.
Like, why are you going to be mad at someone for playing golf, really?
Yeah,
but
you're probably right.
It's either about they want to spend time with you. They're jealous because they're not spending time with you. Maybe you're not actually golfing.
Maybe take them golfing.
Yeah.
I mean, you got into it. I mean, but I also I've even told, and this is probably not the greatest thing for me to admit on the podcast here, but there's also been times where I'm like, yeah, I'll golf with you, but like, it ain't gonna be all the time. Just so you know, like golfing.
Oh yeah, I don't care. And well, here's the thing too: is if you go golfing for how long does it take you to play 18 holes?
Well, like 4.5 hours.
Yeah, if you're golfing,
or no, probably like 10.5.
Yeah.
10.5 hours, 3 days. I'll be gone for 3 days.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's about anywhere from 3 to 7 days.
10 business days.
Yeah, and if you see charges in Vegas at some, entertainment spots, don't think about it too much. No, I'm just kidding.
No, I mean, so yeah, if you're gone for about like 5 hours out of the day, I either can sit here and be productive for 5 hours, because sometimes if you're home, we're going to be lazy together,
Yeah.
And other times we're going to be like getting stuff done. So
yeah.
I two things. I can either be productive if I feel like being productive, or I'm going to be lazy and play Stardew Valley for 5 hours.
No, and you and Penny are like really into Stardew Valley right now.
Yeah.
So the other day, I know we probably should have stopped the podcast by now, but we're having good conversation, so we're going to keep going. So the other day we went to GameStop, which, again, this is one of those things where I'm like, hey, kids, what do y'all want to do? Let's go spend $300 at GameStop, Dad. Hooray.
Go pre-order all the games.
I'm like, yeah, let's go do it. I know that a lot of people don't really care for GameStop anymore because it's like you can do everything online and digital. But I will say that we love going to GameStop just because number one, it gets us out and it gives us like something to do.
Kids love it. Yeah.
I don't love that we spend so much money every single time. Like, it's ridiculous how much money we've spent at GameStop this year. I don't even want to know. Like, I don't even want to know. It's so stupid.
It's up there with competing.
There was a time when we were competing and we were doing pretty good for like weeks in a row, thankfully. And like all of the money that we were winning, we were like, hey, you know what? We got extra bread. Let's take the kids to GameStop. Like, let's get them whatever they want. Oh, you want to switch? You want to switch? You want to switch? Let's get it. Boom, boom, boom.
You're all getting switches.
You're all getting switches. But no, I mean, jokes aside, we do like going to GameStop. And we went the other day, and there's a new Zelda game that's coming out, which actually doesn't even involve Link in it. It's actually Zelda. It's Princess Zelda that's the main character now. So we bought that.
It's like the same format as Link's Awakening, which the kids loved.
Yep. So we bought that game, which it's not out yet. And then there was another game that Penny looked at, and she was like, hey, this looks cool, Dad. Can I get it? I'm like, yeah, whatever. Took it up to try and buy it, and they're like, oh, this isn't out yet. I'm like, oh, snap. Didn't even realize. But I looked at the game, and I turned it to the back, and I told Penny, I was like, baby girl, this looks like Stardew Valley to me. And she was like, oh, I don't know what Stardew Valley is. I was like, it's that game right there. So I was like, okay, go ahead and get a copy. And I said, get mom a copy, and then get
$14.99. We all got copies.
Yeah, it was only $14.99, which is like super duper inexpensive. And so we got, was it 3 or 4 copies?
We got Penny, Piper. Yeah, we got 4. We
got 4 copies of it, and we're all able to play it now. I haven't played once, obviously, but I can on my PC if I wanted to. Either way, and I told them, I was like, hey, this game is really fun. Once you get going with it, it's really relaxing. So I came home from work yesterday, and it was super cute. Penny had a list of all the things that she needed to do, and then she told me, she was like, once I'm done with school, I'm going to do all these things on my list. And she had like water plants, visit this, do this.
Tend to the chickens, collect your eggs.
Yeah, and so she's really into it, which is cool. And she told us she wants to start a YouTube channel to teach people how to play Stardew and
Animal Crossing. And how to crochet.
And I told her, I was like, man, believe it or not, I'm all for it. Like, I'm not saying she can start it tomorrow, but I'm all for it. I have no problem with that. I think that brings out the creativity in her, and it allows her to be who she is. And I don't want her to think like she needs to get into it like us. But I have no problem with that at all. I would love to help her do that if that's something she's passionate about. Like that, we talk about this all the time. Whatever the kids want to do, we want them to do, as long as it's not bad. Yeah. I don't want the kids doing anything drug and alcohol related. I mean, it's just not who we are. Like, you're not gonna have a YouTube channel on that, but yeah, if you want to play video games, that's cool. Like, we'll help you out. I mean, maybe get a little bit older. Once she's around like 12 or something, or 10, I don't know. But either way,
shit, that's like less than 2 years away. 10.
Yeah,
man,
crazy. Yeah, but yeah, she's just such a good kid. Penny's so awesome. They're all good kids, but Penny's her
and I have a good time playing Stardew Valley because she's like, Mom, is this person being? For those who have never played, right? Like you have a farm and there's like, it's all the same people, and so you have to befriend them, right? So there's certain people who have like attitudes, right? Mm-hmm. And certain people are nice, and it just depends on like how much you talk to them in the game that they befriend you, right? So like today she had her what the heck was it, flower festival or flower dance, and she's like asking people to dance, and they're all telling her no, and then like the guy who's like typically mean, like in my game and hers, he said yes, and she's like, Mommy said yes. So I was like, yes, let's go, Penny.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're getting a good kick at it. I started playing and I was like, dude, this is going by so fast. Like, I hate this. Mm-hmm. And then I got through like all the way to the winter season, and I'm like, ooh, this is fun.
Yeah, no, it's definitely fun, and it's a pretty relaxing game in my opinion.
Yeah,
you get to farm, you get to build, you get to do whatever you want to do, and I like it. So yeah, I mean, that's just kind of been what's been up with us. Golfing, a lot more, hanging out with the kiddos and doing this. So, man, I think we're good. Is that it for this week's episode?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay. Well, if you guys, again, want to hear any topics being talked about, if you want to see anybody on the podcast, please, please, please let us know. That's the only way that we will know. And if you guys are watching on YouTube, make sure to subscribe to the channel. We just hit over 42,000 subscribers. So on the way to 50, 100's my goal. I'm crazy. I think we can get it this year. One banger video can jump us a lot of subscribers, and I really think that it's possible. So I'll never give up, and I'll never stop thinking that we can't get 100 G's this year. So if you guys are enjoying the content, obviously, subscribe to the channel. Share it with a friend if they like barbecue. And if you're listening, thank you guys for listening. Hopefully, if you're driving, you're safe right now. I know a lot of my friends that listen are probably on their way to competitions. Good luck this weekend. We've been staying up to date with how you guys are doing. Don't worry, we'll be back soon. I've been getting some questions. When are you coming back? Are you done? Did you do everything that you wanted to do in competition barbecue? Absolutely not. It is just too damn hot for us to be out there with 3 kids. Let us update our situation. Let us update our trailer. Me, Pops, Sabrena, Chance, everybody will be back out soon. So, again, thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you guys for watching and listening. Nothing else?
No, that's it. I'm hungry. We gotta go
I'm
eat.
hungry too. We'll see you guys on the next episode. Peace.